Because what I've seen is that it's just normal for us. It's normal for us to go through the day and feel tired. It's normal for us to wake up tired. It's normal for us to say we're tired. You know, everybody says, I'm tired. It's just a common thing to say. You hear people say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, et cetera, et cetera. And what I'm hearing is warning signs everywhere. Hello friends, welcome back to More Than Movement with Mia, where we talk all things health and wellness, mindset, and just learning how to feel your damn best. Earlier on this week, I threw out a poll in my Instagram stories and was floored by how many people responded back, not in the way that I thought you were going to. So lately I've been working out a lot more, just kind of upping my game in my training program. And I shot a snap of, saying that I need to reintroduce the afternoon nap because my training was getting, up there. So then it got me, my rest of my day went on and I got really curious. I'm like, well, I wonder how many other people are doing this. How many people actually introduce the afternoon nap? How many people take a siesta when they're feeling a little bit tired? Like, are you listening to your bodies? The response that you gave to me was complete opposite of what I actually thought it was going to be. Most of you said you wish that you could introduce the afternoon nap. Not what I thought you would say at all. So what it got me thinking is how much we must still be avoiding, or maybe it's not available to us, but just practicing not listening to our bodies. And hear me out. This is why I'm so passionate about this topic. Years ago, like I've told my story before of being diagnosed with thyroid cancer, it wasn't that much of a surprise to me, if I could be totally honest with you. I remember after the dust settled and I wrapped my head around it, I thought, yeah, this kind of makes sense. It had been honestly years and years of avoiding the warning signs that my body was giving me. It was telling me I would wake up tired every day. I would feel tired in the afternoon. I would fall asleep like that, the drop of a hat. I just kind of felt irritable, like all the common warning signs, but I just kept ignoring it until my body finally said, it's time. You're either going to listen to your body or I'm going to make you listen to me. And that's exactly what it did. And so it got me so passionate about it. It helped me jump on this train of really listening to my body and encouraging everybody else around me to do so. Because what I've seen is that it's just normal for us. It's normal for us to go through the day and feel tired. It's normal for us to wake up tired. It's normal for us to say we're tired. Everybody says, I'm tired. It's just a common thing to say. You hear people say, I'll sleep when I'm dead, et cetera, et cetera. And what I'm hearing is warning signs everywhere. So what I'm here to tell you today is that I am voting the afternoon nap back in. I think it is a very important part of our lifestyle, but I hear you, it might not all be available to you. So I wanted to run through a couple tips that I use in my regular day-to-day, because there's a lot that I had to adopt to overcome, my health challenges. So the first thing is obvious, set it in your calendar, set that afternoon nap. The most amazing thing can happen when you set boundaries. So it's as simple as putting it in your calendar, time off that is just for you. You do not book a meeting, you do not take a phone call, you put your phone on do not disturb, and you just let it be. That is one of the only ways that I find myself being able to actually set those boundaries, is by implementing those practices where I know I will not be disturbed. So some of you might be saying, okay, I work at an office, I have clients all day long, that's not available to me. Fair. The second most obvious thing is making sure you're getting enough sleep. But what happens around that to make sure that you do? I find it's so easy for us to pick up our phones. It's so easy for us to say, yes to whatever's going on right in front of us. You start to go, you look for a photo, and next thing you know, you're checking your emails again. It is so easy for us to get distracted. That's not your fault. That's the world that we live in. So there's so much technology now that you can use to make sure you're setting those boundaries. So like I said, the do not disturb features on your phone, the airplane mode on your phone, making sure that you're setting it aside. You're setting that chunk of time during the day. You're telling your team, I'm busy during these times. You don't have to tell them why, but this is a way for you to start removing from those distractions. You start to set boundaries on yourself. Your end of the day starts or ends at whatever time you feel makes the most sense for you. You energetically move your day around how you're feeling versus bringing that energy out and what everybody else is doing, how everybody else needs your attention and needs to get a hold of you. So make sure you're setting those boundaries around it so that you can start to get to bed earlier, that you can maybe, if it's available to you, introduce those afternoon naps. So it's all about setting the environment around you to make it more available to you so that you can take that step back and take that energy away, or increase the energy. The other thing that you always hear me say is tuning in for a second. And you can do that through mindfulness practices like meditation. Take a step back, take a few minutes, check in. How are you? Where are you at? Are you falling asleep at your desk? Are your cognitive abilities on fire? Are they linking up? Are your thoughts joining? Are they making sense? Ask yourself where you're at. Take 5 minutes. A friend of mine introduced me to the 10 deep belly breaths. You take a breath break, 10 deep breaths, not 5, not 8, 10 deep breaths. Give yourself a chance to calm down, see where you're at, and then adjust accordingly. Do you need a break? Do you need to go for a walk? Can you keep working? The more we check in with ourselves, the easier it becomes, the more accustomed we become to actually listening to our bodies versus ignoring our bodies, and the more energy that we will get over time. Okay, I'm gonna let that sink in. I'm gonna leave a few more minutes for a couple questions. So if you're just joining us for the first time, what we do is I pick up questions off my Instagram, so at St-Aubin, every single week. I grab a handful of them, the team puts them together, and then I answer them on our sessions. Okay, so question, how did you start on this journey of self-healing? Well, I think you'll hear me talk a lot about going back to my cancer story, my burnout story, my pushing my body too far story. So that was a pivotal moment. I had dabbled in personal development and reading, heard some of the greats like John C. Maxwell speak several times, roundtable discussions, amazing experiences. But it wasn't until my body literally knocked on the door and said, pay attention, that I started doing these practices. I don't know that you have to hit your own personal rock bottom to actually start listening to yourself. We're a lot more in tune with it today. But that was the biggest pivotal point for me, is knowing that I didn't have any other choice. There had to be a drastic change that went on in my life. So it was from there that we started Movecamp, started the movement, and practiced now every morning. It's like I can't wait to get up, to read, to journal, to meditate. But it comes over time. So find whatever it is that you want to start with. Maybe that's a 5-minute meditation, and start there, because you'll be amazed at how far it grows. Okay, next question. Oh, okay. I have a really hard time with the seasons changing. How can I stay motivated when it gets so dark outside? So I'm going to go ahead and assume that you're in Canada and you're dealing with the seasons changing into winter and it getting so incredibly dark. I get it. Just off the top of my head, I had a friend of mine, or a teammate of mine actually, introduced me to the alarm clock that is like sunlight. So it slowly rises exactly like the sun. I haven't dabbled into these types of things before, but I know, as soon as you wake up in the morning, you want to slowly put light on your skin, especially if you wake up, it's 6:30, it's still dark. The earlier you wake up, it's still dark, but having these little pieces of technology you can look into, so like the sunlight, is something that is very, very helpful. But the most important thing is to find the motivation, is to surround yourself with things that you love. So get onto those online movement sessions, get onto the book clubs that a lot of people have started online. Surround yourself with community as much as you can. So if you're used to somebody who's moving, maybe you move alone or you like to go to the gym, I would tell you to start moving amongst a community. So that's like, we have Movecamp, for example. It's a community-based program. It's completely free. Anybody can join. It's virtual, and we do some in-person events, but this way you're not doing it alone. So, there's some tools that you can use to start elevating your cortisol in the morning to wake you up, and then surrounding yourself with community members to keep that motivation high and keep that energy high, like we just talked about. All right, last question. Are there any tips you have to regularly feel good? You're gonna hear me say this a lot. The most important things are keeping your habits up. I am such a creature of habit. It's like, it's always been that way for me. Wake up in the morning, I have my water with my lemon, I have my coffee, I read, I journal, I meditate. And it wasn't like that for a very long time. I used to be the person that would have coffee and eat my oatmeal in my car while I was driving to work every single day. I was malnourished, I was exhausted, I was depleted, and I was completely under-recovered. So being able to slowly implement those practices completely changed my life. So I believe that the best way to feel your best is to start implementing habits that bring you joy, that fill you up, that give you energy. You don't have to start with all of them all at once. You can start, like I've said, with a 2-minute meditation, free writing, you start journaling. All that is just dumping out your thoughts into a book, onto a piece of paper. So start with those things, keep it a habit, and watch yourself completely transform and blossom into who it is that you're meant to be. All right, friends, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to subscribe, submit your questions at my Instagram at St-Aubin, and I will see you next time.